when students are most resourceful and most creative is when they are asked to be resourceful and creative, where they're not constrained by bureaucracy and top-down direction. And that's a lesson that I've learned in my own classes. When you allow students to sort of, you give them the minimal direction, but you allow students to express themselves, you'll be surprised by the results. Something else happens when you begin to try to in essence manage student activities, and at the time there isn't this there is no Office of Minority Affairs, for example. We didn't ask anybody. We just did. To give you an example, the students were essentially the ones that again, following the example of the BSU, we saw that they developed their own courses on black history and the black experience. We did the same thing. We just found out how they did it, and we did likewise. So there was much to be done at the time, and the initial years, I think I wrote a piece for OMA about this, and I called it History Makers, because indeed we were making incredible history. And I should add that what we were doing here was almost done in a vacuum, and I say in a vacuum because there is no supportive Latino community in the city of Seattle. Roberto Maestas, who is the director of the Centro La Raza, at the time is teaching. He's a middle-class Spanish teacher at Franklin High School, and he invited me and my cousin Guadalupe to go talk to his class at Franklin. And we went, and we spoke. Essentially, it was almost a rehearsed talk, because we were giving this talk everywhere. We essentially, explained what we're doing at the University of Washington, what we aspired to do, why we supported the Farm Workers Union in California, how we envisioned a day when a similar kind of effort would be evident in Washington State. But we were educating in that talk people like Roberto himself. I remember he said something like this. He said, "Well, where are you from?" "Well, we're from the Yakima Valley." "Where is the Yakima Valley?" And we said, "Well, it's in that direction over there." And we were doing this this is ahead of the incredible organizing that Roberto does, and people like Larry Gossett. Larry Gossett is a contemporary of mine at the University of Washington. We were involved in the same activities. So these are very, very exciting years. And I just want to add that that of the 30 students who came, we didn't neglect why we were here as students. And in that piece that I referenced earlier, I go on to say that that probably, given the circumstances of the time, we were probably one of the most successful classes at the University of Washington. Electrical engineer, a dean, myself as a university professor, several lawyers, and a good number of teachers. Almost, maybe one is at Yale in the initial group. So I think we we did quite well in addition to academic. We did quite well in addition to our involvement in the civil rights movement.